Okay, so we get the people commenting all the time about preparation for hobbles, and here's kind of what I like to do. I'll get one of these here Craig Moore mule tape ropes from famous Craig Moore, the Mustanger down there in Texas. And then what I'll do is I'll start picking up a front foot here. I'll kind of scratch his shin here a little bit, there, and just hold that up here for a moment. And then when he's pretty quiet there, I'll try to tell him you can have your foot back when you get quiet, quiet, quiet. There. Now you go. So then what I'll do is I'll reach down and maybe I'll even tap him on the shin. Say, hey, I'm going to hold your foot for a second, and then I'll put it down. Whoops, if you get kind of radical there, I'm going to hold it up, and now I'll set it down quiet. You don't get to act like that. So then maybe I'll tap his shin, take that foot away, hold it here for a second, and there, now somebody's getting quieter. Maybe I'll tap him again, and then put a little rope pressure on it, hold him, then I'll sit it down quiet. See if he starts to act up, I'll hold it. If he starts to act up, I'll hold it, and then I'll set it down. If he acts up, there. So I want him to know when he's quiet, I'll put it down for him quietly. Okay? Then I'll come over to this side and I'll place this rope around his fetlock here. Then maybe I'll ask him to give me that foot, quiet like. Take that foot away. Hold it there, and if he's quiet, you see how he starts jacking his leg there, I'll set it down quiet. But if you start to jack your leg around, I'll take it away from you. Don't do that. Just set it down quiet. So he'll learn. So I'll kind of tap his foot first and then put rope pressure on it. Then I'll just set that down kind of quiet. Whoops. If he starts to jack, I just take his foot away. Whoops. He's got to let me guide him. Whoops. He has to let me guide him down quietly. There. Then I'll let him have his foot. I'll let him think for a second. Biting it won't help. Maybe I'll tap him, take his foot away, set it down quiet. Whoops. And set it down quiet. There you go. And just tell him how smart. Now, I'm going to pick up a hind foot on him. Good boy. Put that around his fetlock. And my friend there's going to hold that rope short right by the knot. And I'm going to stretch his hind foot out behind him, and when he relaxes here, just for a second, I'll just let him thrash here for a moment. Now, back him up a step. There. Pet him. Now I'm just going to take this hind foot away. I'll hold it for a second. Now back him up right there when he's quiet. Then I'll pick up a hind foot. Wait for him to settle. Good. That's okay. There.
Is he okay back?
Yeah, if he wants to come back when I put that on there.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Controlling.
There. So I'm going to ask him. There. So we're getting him prepped for getting his feet tangled up here. So I'm gonna slowly take that away from him. I like that he's not fighting too hard. I want him to seek release. Right there, get a little back there. So when he got quiet, we gave him a little push back. When he take his foot away, hold him. When he gets quiet, if he sought release on his own, we let him take it. Little push. There. Pick him up. And there. When we watch his feet. There. He's making efforts on his own to come backwards. Give him a little tiny push. And there. So, just the first time we've ever done it with him, he'll get better each time we mess with him. We take ourselves, this thing's about 7 feet long. It's very flat braided, very soft. I'm going to come in here to his fronts, and I'm going to take a wrap just below his knees here, and I'm going to take a full wrap, and then I'm going to put some twists in this, about 4 or 5 of them there. And then I'm going to take a wrap around this and tie myself a very simple slip knot, so if things start to go wrong here, I can pull that and get him out of trouble. And I'm just going to stand right here with him and love on him. We've kind of taught him that when the rope's around his foot, he's bound. He's never had a hobble on before, so we're going to try to teach him to stand still here and not get excited. And I'm just going to love on him both sides. A lot of times people will put a hobble on, turn a horse loose, and it's just a recipe for disaster, I think. It doesn't teach him anything but to be scared. The reason I go so high, if he did panic, and I had that down low, he could put a hind foot over that hobble strap down low and get a hind foot hung up in there and throw himself down and hurt himself. So here's what I will do with a colt or a horse when I'm teaching him to hobble. Now that he's kind of got himself, I will ask him to move just his hind end here. So we taught him how to move his hip. There. So now he felt that he was stuck. I'm going to stay here with him and help him. Boo, 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 boo. Good. So I'm going to introduce that to him in little increments. You'll feel bound up here. So again, we've taught him how to move his hip when we put our eyes to his hip. Move your hip. There, one step. Then you can feel that he's stuck. I'll help him. I'll love on him. Ooh, 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 ooh. Settle him and love on him. I'll come to the other side. I'll ask him to move this hip. Hey, how about this hip? Good. You're bound up. There you go. Good. Hip. And you're bound up now, don't forget. There you go. Get your feet squared and you'll feel better. There. Get your feet squared. Good. Love on him for standing still. Ask for the hip. Good. Ask for the hip. Very good. Good. The goal with hobbling a horse is not to teach them how to move around with hobbles on, is to teach them to stand still with hobbles on. So I'll just, hey, maybe you should move this hip when I ask for it. How about this hip again? Good. And how about this hip again? Good. Don't forget you're bound up there. How about this hip? Good. How about this hip? Good. How about square yourself up and get your balance? Good boy. Then I'll just kind of back away from him a little bit. I don't walk away, I back away so I can monitor him. So if you turn to walk away, they'll think they're being led. I don't want to encourage motion, I want to discourage motion. Good. Good. I'll just let him stand there for a bit. And because this is his first time, I'm going to call it good enough. Come on here and untie him. Undo the wraps. And tell him how proud I am of him. Tell him how smart he is. Good.